All right, who are the top Georgia Bulldog targets in the 24 class on offense? That's what I'm going to be talking about in today's video, so let's jump right into it. Let's start at quarterback, right? Georgia has one of the best quarterbacks in the country already committed right now, four-star Ryan Puglisi out of Connecticut. I think the world of this kid. He is very, very good, checks all the boxes for me. I think he's outstanding. Of course, Georgia's going to take two quarterbacks in this class that went after Arch Manning last year, didn't get him, so they didn't sign one. This year, they're going to sign two. And of course, Dylan Raiola is the big target. Georgia is leaning or trending heavily right now for the nation's #1 quarterback, a guy that people are comparing to Patrick Mahomes. We were told to look out for a possible Dylan Raiola commitment last Tuesday night. It did not happen. But the Twitter insiders saw that rumor, ran with it. They basically said it was happening. I think maybe a couple people on other sites basically said it was happening. It didn't. So a lot of people look really dumb, but there's no doubt about it. Georgia is clearly the team to beat. A lot of people I've spoken with said that he has already committed silently to Georgia. So right now it's just a wait and see game. But if he makes a commitment anytime soon, which he could, I expect Georgia to be the pick over Nebraska and USC. Massive, massive pull for the Dogs when it comes out publicly. But Dylan Raiola and Ryan Puglisi, two of the best quarterbacks in the nation, without a doubt. I think both will sign with Georgia. So that's the quarterback spot. At running back, Dwight Phillips Jr., already on the commit list, the fastest high school football prospect in the country, bar none. This kid is explosive, fast. He's got breakaway speed. His dad was an Olympian. This kid is dangerous with the ball in his hands. So Georgia already has elite speed committed at running back. A few other guys to know. Taylor Tatum out of Longview High School in Texas, two sports standout, great baseball player as well. He's high on Georgia. He's been to Athens, I think, twice this year, once in March. And he might have taken another one. I'm not really sure. But 5'11", 205, just under 1,900 rushing yards last year, 33 touchdowns, averaged 8.3 yards per carry. I think Georgia's on the outside looking in this second, but he is high on Georgia. We'll see if he locks in an official visit with them. I don't think he's done that yet. Nate Frazier, a guy who's, I think, on campus right now as we speak. He's in Athens at a modern-day high school in California. In a backup role, played behind an elite sophomore running back, Jordan Davidson, who is also very high on Georgia in that 25 class. He is an absolute stud. But Nate Frazier, big old kid, 5'11", 210, runs really well for that size, runs a 10.73 in the 100-meter. That's moving for someone 210. 693 yards on just 61 carries, averaged over 11 yards per carry. That's going to get it done against that competition out there. You're rushing for 11 yards per carry. That is big time, 8 touchdowns, and he did it as a backup. He is in Athens this weekend. Again, whenever you're watching this video, he can be on campus right now. 4-star, I think, could end up in the top 100 across the country. Definitely a name to know. Christian Clark out of Phoenix, Arizona, 6 foot, 195 pounds. Georgia offered him in late January, and he has decided to make an official visit. He came out with that last week, saying he's going to be in town the weekend of June 23rd. So another 4-star running back from not the coast, right, because Arizona's in the desert, but a kid out west announcing that he's going to be taking an official visit to Georgia. So that was more news. So there's still plenty of running back targets out there. Jarrett Gibson, the #1 running back, I think most sites have, originally from Georgia, Jonesboro High School. Don't think he's going to end up in Athens, although he plans to take an official visit in early June. So a guy to know, but don't think he's heading towards Georgia. Wide receiver, Georgia's got 3 on the commit list already. Sokovie White, 3-star out of Cass High School in North Georgia. Nitro, Showtime, Tuggle, baby. I'd love saying that kid's name. I could say it all day. Big time. Don't let the 3-star ranking fool you though. This kid is electric with the ball in his hands. He's got size, he's got speed, he's got great hands, he can elude defenders, great after the catch, can return kicks and punts. This guy does it all. I love the potential that he brings to the table. And then Nikar out of Colquitt County, another guy on the smaller end, but he's explosive, he's fast, he's a vertical threat. He can sneak behind defenses and make big plays down the field. Sokovie White can too, but again, they are a little bit on the smaller side, but bring explosiveness and speed. Nitro Tuggle it can kind of do it all, in my opinion. So they got 3 on board. Ryan Wingo, a guy that a lot of people talked about earlier this week. Again, if you get your information, your recruiting information from Twitter, you're probably a little disappointed that he didn't jump on board with Dylan Raiola earlier this week. But as a real insider, a guy who's done this for a long, long time now, I was able to reach out to Ryan, say, hey, are you making a commitment this week? And he said, no, I'm not even close to a commitment this week. Spoke with his coach a little bit. There's a story coming on that, but he's a 5-star for a reason. 41 catches, 785 yards, 19.1 yards a catch, 13 touchdowns. The best punter in the region up there in St. Louis, can return kicks, can play running back. This is a guy who can do a little bit of everything. 5-star on and off the field from everything I've gathered and speaking with him and the coaching staff up there. Big deal. I do think George is trending in the right direction. He's going to take an official visit this summer. Landing Dylan Raiola publicly is going to go a long way here, but he was not committing to Georgia this week. A lot of people, again, looked dumb when they thought that he was jumping on board earlier this week. June 2nd, I believe, is his official visit. Kid runs a 10.55 at 200 plus pounds. He's the real deal. Other wide receivers to know, KJ Bolden could play on defense. He told me last week after his G-Day visit that George is recruiting him to play both offense and defense. So I would personally put him at wide receiver first because he has elite track speed at his size. So I'm going to put him in this wide receiver category because he could get reps there. Mike Matthews, 5-star out of Parkview High School. I don't think Georgia is trending in the right direction here. Alabama and Clemson are other teams to know, but I think Georgia's got some room to make up. Micah Hudson is another 5-star. He's out of Texas, I believe. Likes Georgia. Don't think Georgia's the leader there. Jeremiah Smith, the #1 wide receiver in the country, firmly committed to Ohio State, but I think he might give Georgia a second look with Dylan Raiola publicly on board. Zion Reagan's another one of the fastest, most explosive players in the country out of Jones County High School, another name to there. So Georgia's in a position where they could really clean up at wide receiver. I say clean up, but out of the few 5-stars that I've said, I think they're going to at least get one of them, maybe two. I like the 3 guys they have on board. So wide receiver, I'm expecting a very, very good class. It's shaping up to be. Tight end, Jaden Riddell is the name to know. Landon Thomas, of course, flipped from Georgia to Florida State, plays at Colquitt County, #1 tight end. That's a big loss. There's no doubt about it. In-state 5-star tight end that you've had on the commit list for several months. Flips to Florida State, but Jaden Riddell, a big-time pass catcher out of Missouri, 6'4", 230, plays a lot of receiver at the high school he's at right now, is going to catch a lot of passes at the next level, taking his official visit to Georgia the weekend of June 9th. Alabama and Tennessee are also getting official visits. He's in Alabama right now for their spring game. That's probably going to be the team that they're going to have to beat out in the end. Tennessee coming in third as usual. But he's definitely the name to know. We'll see if they end up taking 2 wide receivers in this class. I think they definitely will in 25. They already have a big tight end on board, Ellis Williams. So I think I'd put him on the edge, outside linebacker myself. But I do think that he's going to get some reps at tight end. 25 class is really loaded at tight end. 24 is too, but they're just not going after a lot of the other in-state tight ends that I'm really high on. But Jaden Riddell is the name to know. We'll see if they end up taking 2 in this class. I think that's definitely possible. Offensive line, just not a lot of elite talent there. There's no Broderick Jones or Amarius Mims, at least in the state of Georgia. Malachi Tolliver, 3-star versatile lineman out of Cartersville High School, is on board. But Daniel Calhoun, talked about him for years now. We have a really good relationship with him. He's taking his official visit to Georgia June 2nd. Tennessee, Clemson, Alabama, all still in the mix as well. I think Georgia's sitting in a good spot. Big boy. Big boy. He's going to have to lose a little bit of weight, but he's like 340 right now. So he's got some work to do, but I still think he moves really well for his size. And kid dominates at the high school level right now. Was at Centennial and now plays at Walton High School. He's a name to know. Brandon Baker, another guy out of Modern Day High School, California. There's a connection, California to Georgia connection. Everyone's talking about the Dogs over there in California. He's taking his official visit the weekend of June 23rd. There was a story on this 5-star offensive lineman over on DAWGS, so make sure you check that out. But he was on campus last weekend. Georgia has climbed his list, so he's the #1 offensive tackle in the country right now, according to multiple sites. And I think Georgia has a real shot at him. Getting him back on campus for an official visit was a big deal. Other names to know are Max Anderson, 4-star offensive lineman out of Texas, who was in town recently, I believe a couple weekends ago. And then Fletcher Westfall, out of Virginia, 4-star tackle, who's always said good things about Georgia. He gave me a long list of quotes I didn't have time to write that story a couple weeks ago, but he's very high on Georgia. Every time I reach out, he likes the Dogs. So a few offensive linemen to know, if they still take it, 4 or 5, there's going to be some guys on there that, like Malachi Tolliver, who I don't think would have a chance to sign with Georgia in the last several classes at least. So it's just not an elite group, not a great group across the country and in the state of Georgia on the offensive line. So they're going to have to get guys who they think they can develop, sit a little bit, and then maybe push for playing time down the road. So I don't think it's going to be an outstanding class compared to, offensive line classes in years past, but they're going to get some guys, no doubt about it. So if you have any questions, head over to Dog Post and I can answer them there, but it should be a very, very good class on offense. Starts with the quarterbacks, elite running back with elite speed already on board. They're going to haul in some big-time wide receivers. You get Jaden Riddell, pass-catching tight end. You can check that box. So very good class offensively. Those are the big targets that you need to know about right now. And then I guess I'll make a video on defensive targets, maybe this time next week, guys. Thanks for watching this video. As always, stay tuned to the next one coming up right now. I will see you over on Dog Post.